Welcome back to the Derelict Workshop renovation series. So far I have cleared out decades of old junk, rebuilt the chimney and repaired the leaky roof. In this episode I'll be fitting a flue liner, installing a vintage Norwegian log burning stove and making a brass chimney cowl from scratch. Let's get started and get some warmth back into the workshop. This is the flue liner. I've got £65 off Facebook Marketplace and it's a 904 grade stainless steel, twin walled, 6 metres long, 7-inch diameter, and it's more than sufficient for this job. It's got some surface dents, I'll cut around those, but for 65 quid, when normally for a metre or two it would cost that, this is an absolute deal. There's a spiral pattern on the inside of this flue, which is like scales effectively. So on the way down it's smooth, on the way up it catches on those lips. So assuming that stuff is going to be falling down the chimney, you want those scales downwards so it's smooth going down. And on this particular flue it's got some handy indicators of saying that is the up direction. I think most commonly these flues are dropped down from the top of the chimney, and when they're dropped down they have a cone on the front which protects these edges. I'm going to be using an adapter piece and I don't have a cone, so I'm going to install the adapter piece which should help to protect the front edge of this flue as it goes down the chimney. I've attached a piece of paracord to the leading edge of the flue pipe so I can drag it down. I think it would definitely be easier with two people rather than one. One to push, one to pull, but it's just me, so let's give it a go. It's time to create a register plate. So the register plate will be a horizontal piece of metal there with a hole cut in it for the flue, and it'll be fastened to the walls with angle brackets. So I'm going to start off by creating a cardboard template and then cut it out of metal. I'm going to make the register plate out of this galvanised steel. This is actually a piece of roofing material. It's 0.7mm thick and it should do the job nicely. Well, that fits quite well. There are a few roughly millimetre gaps here and there, but they should be fine. Because the stove is designed to work as both an open fire and a log burning stove, I'm going to fit this damper so that when it is being used as an open fire, I can control the amount of draw from the chimney so that it doesn't roar away too much and drag all the warm air out of the room. This is the log burning stove that's going to be installed here in the workshop. It is a Jotul No, and it's intended to be both a closed log burning stove and an open fireplace. This was £100 and is damaged. And to be honest, I doubt anyone else would have bought it because of the damage. So I thought I'd give it a lease of life, and this will most likely be its last resting place because it's got a leg off. I'll show you. It's cracked off and someone's put a bodge job leg in. Then there's a crack down here in the back. These are rusted off. So this door is supposed to pull out, up and then close. So I'm going to try and free that up. these marks here look like that's where it's sort of rubbing and catching. So I'm going to drop some oil in there and see if it helps. The flue adapter on this stove is missing, so I'm going to make a sort of DIY one out of a cheap fabrication off eBay. I suspect under high heat loads this flat plate would warp, so I'm going to be putting a large washer fabricated out of this around the rim there to make sure there's good compression between this piece, this plate and the rest of the stove, and should prevent warping. I've decided to put in fire rope rather than fire cement here. I may put fire cement as well, but this will allow much more flex. As this is very thin, this is quite thick, they will expand and contract at different rates. This will heat up faster, expand more initially, then this will expand to match. With the fire rope, it should mean that bond is really good for a long period of time. After 24 hours, the fire cement has set to a hardish consistency, but to complete the curing process, I'm going to light a small fire inside. So I'm going to temporarily install the stove, light a fire, let the fire cement go off, and then take everything out and then angle grind or wire brush everything down. It's going to be another few hours until the fire cement has gone off. I'm going to leave this fire quite small initially and then build it up over time to really set it firm. Whilst that's doing its thing, I am going to make a cowl or cap for the chimney. I'm going to make it out of sheet brass, and it's going to be cut out of a circle initially. A segment will be removed from the circle and then folded around to create a sort of cone shape. So I'm going to drill these holes through and then fasten them together with these teeny little bolts and nylock nuts. So that's the cone finished. Pretty stable. It's got some flex in it. Now I'm going to try and come up with a way to fix these on and make them stronger. These are obviously structurally not appropriate. So I'm going to try putting a crease in them. Longitudinal crease down the centre. That's the next stage finished. So I'm now going to go off the chimney and attach it with some stainless banding. After the final install, that's what it looks like. It's tightened at the front here for easy removal. This underside I suspect will get black pretty quick, so I haven't polished that. And then this is the protected outer surface, which is beautiful and shiny now, but won't remain that way for long. It will go to a sort of nice burnished brass look. The straps will eventually be attached to the flexible flue liner to create some vertical support for the flue rather than just resting on the register plate below. In the next episode, I will be replacing the rotten attic floorboards and applying wood treatment to try and tackle the mold problem throughout the workshop.